Bounty Star, The Morose Tale of Graveyard Clem is coming to Game Pass today. You are Clementine, a loner who failed at protecting those in her stead. After wallowing in a drunken stupor, you'll build your life back up, one repetitive mission at a time. Solid writing, voice work, not enough to save this one from a frustrating mission and homestead structure, which is a shame, as the game oozes Southwest charm. This is the XboxEra review of Bounty Star, The Morose Tale of Graveyard Clem. The game's tutorial walks you through the worst night of Clementine's life. She was a protector, using her combat mech to lead a squad that kept the county safe. In this future American Southwest, dinosaurs exist, but a plague wiped out a large swath of society, and mechanized robots are used to uphold and break the law. The game's full title, Bounty Star, The Morose Tale of Graveyard Clem. She earns that nickname by burying the corpses of those she failed to save. This Clem's a hard little lady. She drinks heavily and swears like a mother sailor. She smokes like a chimney too. The story, voice acting, and music are the best parts of Bounty Star. It's a low-budget, small team title with cutscenes routinely missing sound effects and full of stilted movements. The devs do their best to convey a heavy, emotional story as Clem battles her inner demons as the past routinely comes back to haunt her. By the end, the story was the only part keeping me going, because the game's missions and in-between busy work were simply plumb not enjoyable. Bounty Star has a mission structure that claims it opens up but never really does. Clem becomes a bounty hunter to make money and rebuild an old workshop/farm. For the most part, you're going to go out and do the same few types of battles in the same few locations against the same few enemies to earn money and scrap. You'll do this for 10 to 15 hours with only a few actually engaging experiences to string you along. There are low and high priority bounties. These high priority ones are your main mission movers. These generally see the quote-unquote new locations and possibly new enemy types become available. Low priority bounties reuse locations and enemy types to the point of driving me a bit crazy. In between each of these missions, you're going to have to build up your homestead. At first, it's a simple task of refilling a few stations each full day cycle. By the end, you have a full-on farm with plants growing, chickens laying eggs, and even dinosaurs to take care of. Interacting with them involves running up to a spot and hitting the A button. You're going to end up doing this a few thousand times, whether it's giving chickens corn or giving water to everything, and I plumb lost my mind. To get said water, you go up to the trough and press A, then run around and press A 4 times around everything that you can until you need to go back and get more water, and eventually I gave up on the farm because I could not take the monotony. The repetition that was matched by the combat. Before you get into the combat, you got to do upgrades which are tied to your workbench, which itself is tied to campaign progress. It's all menus on menus, whether you're buying resources or making things. The UI has some odd choices on mouse and keyboard, like requiring you to hit the P button to start a mission instead of just letting you click it. There are a lot of little things that added up to the amount of frustration I felt as I played. Because the combat in Bounty Star tries to be this fun mix of melee and ranged abilities, but it never quite felt right. There is a rock, paper, scissors system of damage and armor types. You'll eventually have multiple loadouts with which you'll have to cover the specific damage types required for each bounty. Shotguns do blade damage, and this bug spits out bludgeoning, and so on and so forth. It attempts to add a force variety to the loadouts, and along with the heat generation system, it works fine. Certain weapons and abilities add heat, others add cold, and filling up the bar in either direction leads to a few second-long thermal shutdown. You're not going to have a good time. To combat this, your kit consists of abilities tied to your B, Y, and left bumper buttons. Figuring out the best combo for a given scenario would be fun if it controlled well. You can also use the right bumper to catch enemies once they're in a low enough state of health, if you so choose. Clem's mech can dash with a long slide to end it. You can also do a melee trick system, which means timing hitting X at the end of each swing. There's a lock-on for the combat, which was finicky to use in practice. Switching between characters kind of felt like a crapshoot on who it would go to in the heat of a battle. Whether I was dashing, flying, or using a shield, the combat never really felt fair, because either I could just stand a mile back and obliterate everything with an incredibly powerful missile, or I had to go up close as tiny little humans on the ground could take a freaking third of my health in quick succession with their gosh dang landmines. The various bots and other mechs you fight are either real easy to kill in a hit or two, or able to kill you in under a second. There was little in between as I got further into the main campaign. Bounty Star wasn't a particularly long game, but boy did it feel like one. The small size of most missions mixed with all the loading screens, having to cook before each mission for an optimal loadout, and having predators constantly eating my damn livestock despite my best efforts just was not a fun gameplay loop. And I know I'm no game designer, but I never found that the run-based nature of short missions was to this game's benefit. It didn't help that the gameplay wasn't the tightest, but I feel like I could have mastered it better if I weren't constantly having to cycle between things like morning and afternoon and night to advance the campaign, instead of just being out there and shooting shit. The amount of time and resources wasted because no more bounties were available and it was the only afternoon for me to have to go all the way to the next morning to get anything, boy, that was frustrating. To get story progression, you might need to cycle through the next morning or complete low danger bounties on the board, but there's no indicator, there's no HUD to explain it. There aren't even graphical options on the Xbox PC version. And graphically, I think the game looks fine. If you understand the team size and scope, it's nice. There's no graphical options in any version I played. The Series X ran at a clean 60 FPS, but my PC handled the game easily running at 4K and over 100 FPS without breaking a sweat. The Xbox Ally X had really bad stutter in any low power 17 or 13 watt mode. It was fixed completely going up to 25 watts and 35 watts when plugged in. There are no ways to tune the graphics in the Xbox PC version, which made getting it to run well in the handheld a bit of a crapshoot. The only thing I could control was the resolution, and dropping that from 1080p to 720p didn't help with the stuttering. And while the gameplay loop isn't great and the graphics are just kind of fine, the audio is pretty damn well done. The game is fully voice acted with good writing and damned good voiceover. The soundtrack is full of slow country music that fits the setting and the vibes real well. Unfortunately, the cutscenes end up getting let down by poor animation and a lack of sound effects. As this is a review version of the game, I'm hopeful that maybe it's something being fixed either at or post-launch. And thankfully, I had no major bugs while playing, being able to jump between my 3 devices, bringing my save with me without any issues. Wrapping things up, Bounty Star, the morose tale of Graveyard Clem, is a game full of good ideas and poor execution. I really loved the setting and enjoyed the story thanks to some great voice acting and music, but that gameplay loop was a letdown, full of repetitive tasks and unsatisfying combat. This one's tough to recommend, even though it is Day One on Xbox Game Pass.